For the beacon, this idea of beacon, because a lot of what I talk about earlier in the book is listening, getting to know the community, figuring out, paying attention. So you're really using language and creating offerings that are helpful, that are, aligned with where people are, what they're thinking about as your
Sure.
ideal customer. A beacon is really that place where what I define as a beacon is a specific communication vehicle that you use to share your thought leadership.
Got
So
it.
I would imagine for you, it's a podcast. I know you're a writer too. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
there's different ways to do that. I mean, it's a really interesting point. I mean, there's been such God for years, Pamela. Like we've been hearing, like email is dead, email is dying, it's whatever. Meanwhile, email newsletters have been growing in popularity, and now all of a sudden, I find myself subscribing, like, and sometimes paying money to receive newsletters from certain people that I really want to hear their thoughts every week.
Yes.
And I guess that's their beacon that you're
That's
talking
their
about,
beacon
right?
because
Yeah.
it's well curated,
Yep.
it's well designed, it specifically addresses the problem or challenge they have. I use,
Yep.
a bunch of examples. Morning Brew is one. I love
I
Morning Brew.
love Morning Brew.
It's
It's great.
so great. And here they're
Yep.
spinning off into getting tons of different,
They are. It's
marketing
another really
brew
good
and
one is the 1440 digest. I don't know if you ever get that one.
oh no, I'll
You
check
can
it out.
Google it. It's the 1440. And what's really good about it is similar. It's similar to Morning Brew, but it is
Hmm.
very it is nonpartisan. So
Yeah.
it's a news summary with some fun links,
Yeah.
included. But it just presents the news without any kind of a slant, which in this day and age, I think a lot of us would appreciate. Do you know what I mean?
It's
So
super helpful for sure.
that's
Yeah,
their beacon, their daily morning newsletter. And I
that's
guess
right.
beacons can be, like you mentioned, podcasts. If that's like, for example, if you're running a business and you want, you're going to say, like, damn it, I'm going to focus on this podcast. That's going to be my
Mm,
beacon.
yeah.
That's how I'm going to be getting information out, and that
Yeah.
is my main thing, right? And I
That's
guess the
right.
biggest, if I can ask you, the biggest risk that you have there is spreading yourself too thin. I mean, I see too many people trying to do too many things or use too many
Yeah.
beacons.
I think that's it. And so that's why to me it is important strategically to choose a primary beacon. I use,
Yeah.
Brene Brown as an example of she really has zeroed in on podcasting, doing a partnership with Spotify. We know she has a huge audience. I used her as an example of somebody who crosses so many different audience segments, right? With the clients that follow her work from the military, CIA, Disney, social workers, like she has this really interesting audience. But you need to strategically decide where you're going to really put your effort. A beacon has to be a place where your ideal clients go, where they listen for information, because even if you love to do it and none of your clients listen to podcasts, that's not a good beacon. You have to meet in the
Agreed.
middle. But there are satellites, right? Social media satellites. You can have an episode, you can parse it out, share it on LinkedIn, and I recommend maybe two or three kind of social media satellites that you choose deliberately. But
Sure.
a lot of people get overwhelmed of just doing a bunch of things in a kind of a half-assed way, and it doesn't work. You're frustrated, and there's no one place. If you're to tell somebody, if you really want to get to know my point of view, this is what you should do. For me, it's been my newsletter. I've had my newsletter since 2004, and it's a place I love it. I love to write it. I've had people who have been subscribed for a long time,
Yep.
and it's helpful for me to know that that's my primary beacon.